what you need to understand it, what is an entity, right? So business and product are two entities. One is business, second is product. A business is like maths, right? Like 3 in itself, 3 ka number in itself has no value, right? But 3 cars, basically you can count 1, 2, 3, right? So business is similarly like that, is an entity which does not exist in the real world, but it starts having value when you tie it to a product, right? Like for example, if a product is there in which you have to spend $10 and you get a return of like $20, that is something that you call as a business, right? Like for example, you spend $10 on Swiggy and you get an order. The cost is whatever. The Swiggy wala people in their product, they would see that a person has paid 500 rupees, 400 rupees is the cost of the order, and eventually you get a profit of $100. Sorry, 100 rupees, whatever it is. So business is an entity which only exists when product exists alongside it. Like for example, Clear Trip, agar product hota hi nahi, for example, how will they make revenue? So business is an entity which eventually follows this math, that revenue minus cost is equal to profit. And it can only happen when the product simultaneously exists. If there is no product, business kaise exist karega? Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat. I need everybody to tell me that where they are understanding what I'm trying to say. So business can only exist when simultaneously product as an entity will exist. Is this clear to all of you guys? Give me a yes in the chat. Amazing. Amazing. So a business always tries to make itself self-sustainable. Self-sustainable. What I mean by sustainable is that if there is a business which does not generate a profit, it would need outside funds. You see a lot of startups raising money. Why? Because they are a business, but they are not a sustainable business. A sustainable business always is revenue minus cost is equal to positive profit. Where it's a positive profit, you say, yaar, business bootstrapped hai. You talk about this and you say a business is bootstrapped, which can support on itself, right? So if profit is not there, funds are needed to ensure that this equation is met for the business to be sustainable. ये भी बात समझ में आई कि हाँ, एक business को profit चाहिए in order to sustain itself. If profit is not there, then there is a problem. Then you need to raise funds so that you can support it till a point that the business starts generating profit. Does that make sense? Give me a yes in the chat. यहां तक बात समझ में आई? So पहली बात क्लियर हो गया. Business can only exist when a product exists alongside it. Amazing. Awesome. Awesome. ठीक है. Now the next part is product as an entity. Product is a living entity, like an app. It's a living entity. You interact with it. It's not like business, which only exists because the product exists. So think of a product as a living entity, which follows the equation that a product में जो भी engagement हो रहा है, any engagement in the product should aid to the sustainability of a business. For example, let's assume you start thinking of Clear Trip and you want to eventually buy a plane ticket from Chandigarh to, let's assume, Bangalore, for example, right? Now you go to the product, you open the app. So it's a real entity, you can interact with it. You select a flight ticket and you eventually make a payment. You actually did an action. You actually went to a flight, clicked on the right flight, and you eventually went through a user journey, right? Which eventually led to the business becoming sustainable, business growing revenue. So product is an entity which exists by sustainable engagement in the app. Sustainable engagement का मतलब क्या होता है? The engagement that the product manager wants. So necessary engagement on the product side which creates service value for the end user. Value क्या थी? तुम्हारी ticket खरीदना. So a ticket, a person who purchases a ticket is basically the value, which leads to growth of a metric. What is the metric? The metric is basically you buying a plane ticket or number of users who buying a plane ticket, which eventually aids or propels the business. यहां तक बात समझ में आई? So what you have to eventually do is that you have to aid any engagement in the product, any effort. Like if Flipkart में जाके लोग खरीदे नहीं, if people don't buy on Flipkart and eventually just sign up, will it propel the business? Give me a yes or no. It will not. Give me a yes or no. If people just go to Flipkart's website and don't purchase anything and only just sign up, will it propel the business? Give me a yes or no. Obviously, right? So it will not propel the business. So a product is an entity जहां पे necessary engagement होता है, which propels the business equation. What is the business equation? Revenue minus cost is equal to profit. So a business and product have to work hand in hand to support a value driven service. So business is not a real entity. It only exists when the product exists. Any engagement in the product should propel the business equation of revenue minus cost is equal to profit. So any action in the product should lead to a service value, which basically creates this differentiation. Basically, revenue minus cost is equal to profit, and they should exist hand in hand. So all of the product managers in the world, they try to figure out what action should be done on the app so that people eventually propel the business equation of revenue minus cost is equal to profit. कि कोई भी ऐसा एक्शन ऐप पे कराना जिससे ये बिजनेस की इक्वेशन प्रोपेल नहीं होती does not make any sense. Make sense? So all the product managers would try to make features which sustain this equation, revenue minus cost is equal to profit. यहां तक बात समझ में आई? Give me a yes or no. You're clear till here? क्या यार बता दो यार मुझे, आज तो ऐसे कर रहे हो. Absolutely, it will be considered an activation failure. Absolutely, absolutely, awesome. सो यहां तक बात, तो दो एंटिटीज है. बिजनेस है वो तभी एग्जिस्ट करेगी जब प्रोडक्ट एग्जिस्ट करेगा, और प्रोडक्ट तभी एग्जिस्ट करेगा व्हेन इट हैज अ नेसेसरी एक्शन व्हिच गिव्स यूजर्स वैल्यू. नाउ देयर आर 4 टाइप्स ऑफ डॉक्यूमेंट्स. द फर्स्ट डॉक्यूमेंट इज कॉल्ड अ प्रोडक्ट रिक्वायरमेंट डॉक्यूमेंट. Second document is called a business requirement document. Third document is called a functional requirement document. कभी कभी तो मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि अपुनिज भगवान है कि इसके आगे कोई भी ABCD लगा दो और RD लिख दो तो वो डॉक्यूमेंट बन जाएगा. So there are four types of major documents: a product requirement document, a second is a business requirement document, third is a functional requirement document, and fourth is a design requirement document. ये बात समझ में आई? There are 4 types of documents. Everybody is clear here that there are product requirement document, business requirement document, functional requirement document, and we will talk about it. Don't worry, we will talk about it, what they exactly mean. So we will start with the business requirement document. Now, what does a business requirement document totally mean? Break down these words. Business requires something. That's a business requirement document. That it's a document written by the business guys so that they can implement something, some feature, something which propels the business equation. What is the business equation? Revenue minus cost is equal to profit. Right? It's a document written by the business guys, the marketing guys, the sales guys, the operations guys. And this is a document that they eventually want to write, which can propel the business equation. So who is the value receiver here? It's the business which is the value receiver. So for example, I am a sales guy and I want a feature to be implemented because it will help me generate more sales. Right? So I am the value receiver. So this is the document that I will write, which I will give to the product guys and say that if you implement this feature, I will be able to generate revenue of $1 million. Right? So here, who is the value receiver? Can you tell me who the person who writes the document is the value receiver? Business is the value receiver who writes the business requirement document. Give me a yes or no if you understood who is the value receiver. किसके लिए काम हो रहा है? Business के लिए हो रहा है, right? And who is the value generator here? Who is the value generator? It's the product which is the value generator here, because the product team will eventually build that feature, and business will be able to sell that feature. Give me a yes or no. Who is the value generator here? Value generator है product, but value receiver कौन है? Value receiver is business. Yes, correct. So a product is the value generator who will so what should be the part of this document? I told you, business का मतलब product नहीं होता. The value of the document would be that I will write a certain document which will tell that it should propel the business equation. So any document should be written in terms of revenue minus cost is equal to profit. So what can be a typical document? Like you see a typical BRD here to implement a chatbot feature, which is not, it's just a suggestion. So on the website to convert more leads and improve the conversion from 5% to 7%. So in a business requirement document, because product is so Pankaj, product is a value generator because they are implementing the feature. They are eventually going to make that across, right? Business value फीचर किसके लिए बन रहा है? बिजनेस के लिए बन रहा है, लेकिन बना कौन रहा है? प्रोडक्ट बना रहा है. सो प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर इज द वैल्यू जनरेटर हु वुड इवेंचुअली डेवलप द फीचर एंड गिव द वैल्यू टू द बिजनेस हु इज द वैल्यू रिसीवर. सो व्हाट शुड बी द actual objective statement of this BRD? It should be in lines of the business equation which I have told, that is revenue minus cost is equal to profit. So everybody will write like this: to implement a chatbot feature which will convert more leads so that my revenue can grow from $1 million to $10 million. Ops is the business generating entity, na? Ops, sales, marketing, all are business generating entities, right? So that is customer hona chahiye. Oh, Pankaj, we'll talk about it. Let me just cover this across. So a business objective would be that to implement a chatbot feature on the website to convert more leads in the sign up process, to grow the conversion from 5% to 7%, or basically what I mean is the paid conversion from 5% to 7%. So any business requirement document ka objective hamesha business lines pe hoga. Like the business objective to implement a chatbot feature on the website to convert more leads in the sign up process from 5% to 7%. And this is the core objective, or objective ek line ka hona chahiye. It should just be a one line objective in which people understand that we want to drive the paid conversion from 5% to 7%. Now, once the objective is written in a typical BRD, the next step that in any document, whether it's a BRD, whether it's a PRD, whether it's a DRD, whether it's a FRD, the next thing is, why do we want to do it? Why do we want to do it? यहां तक बात समझ में आई? The first objective statement should be very clear to the product team that I want to implement something as a suggestion so that I can grow the sign up or the paid conversion from 5% to 7%. That is what business will write, right? Yes, it's a hypothesis. It is basically a hypothesis that somebody has made that I will implement something. Basically, it is something that the product team will eventually realize, but the main objective is that I want to grow the paid conversion from 5% to 7%, right? The next thing that after I've written the objective, now whether it will happen or it will not happen is a secondary thing. That's something the product team will figure out. But why do we want to do it is the second part. Why my objective makes sense. So the next part would be that currently we have 1,000 plus visitors visiting on our website, and out of which only 5% are captured. And the standard behavior on a typical edtech business is 10%. That's why we need to implement a chatbot feature. So pehla kaam kya hota hai? What is the first line of a typical BRD? The first line of a typical BRD is that I want to do something in a business so that I can grow the paid conversion from 5% to 7%, or I want to increase my revenue from 1 million to 10 million, right? So that it's a business objective. Second point would be that why do we want to do it? Why does it make sense? Yahan tak baat samajh mein aayi? Give me a yes in the chat. Give me a just yes in the chat so that I can understand. The first part of a business requirement document is to write the business objective. It can be growing revenue, it can be reducing cost, it can be improving profit, it can be improving the paid conversion. ये सारी चीजें business के objective हैं, right? The next part would be, can I talk about the pain points? Pain points में मैंने बोला कि यार there are 1,000 people who come to my website, out of which I only capture 5%. Can I grow it to 10%? Right? And then the third part would be the high level solution that is suggested, that the business is suggesting to the product team that why don't you implement a chatbot feature which will help me do that? Now, this can be put across by the product team. This cannot be. वो उनकी मर्जी है. Because the product team now understands that my objective is to grow the paid conversion and business is suggesting a chatbot feature. हाँ, मतलब वैसा ही कुछ कर दो. Sign up button को रेड कर दो. तो first part of a typical BRD is the business objective. Second part is the current pain points. Third part is called the high level solution that is suggested. यहाँ तक बात समझ में आई? Second point should be the responsibility of the measure to, so Tushant is asking, second point should be the responsibility of a measure to measure the existing metrics. And second point is a suggestion by the business. A product might implement it, might not implement it, but product understands that the core goal is to improve the paid conversion. Now, whether business की बात मुझे माननी है या नहीं माननी, that's a secondary question. I can do it in some other way, right? But I need to understand the business objective. So second point is that why business is saying that it is useful, and third point is what should be the solution that we are recommending. जब ये 3 points cover हो गए, then you typically talk about the detailed flow in a BRD. Then business mentions that, okay, the first part is the objective, second point is why should we do it, third point should be some solution that we are suggesting, fourth point would be the detailed structure of the solution, that a person that we are suggesting a chatbot feature, and the detailed flow would be a user should land on the home page, then if the user spend more than 10 seconds on the page, then a pop-up should trigger, and we should ask the email ID and phone number of the user. We can typically ask what courses are you looking for, and then all of these things, once they are captured, we tell the end user that, okay, now our team will contact you, and eventually this is something that will happen. So the flow is a user comes on the website, right? Then please, not a tweet, this is very, very poor that we are trying to understand. I'm blocking you. If you write such questions, I am genuinely blocking you. Awesome. So the fourth step, the first step is objective. Second step is why it should be done, current pain points. Third step is high level solution. Fourth step is the detailed flow of the solution, that a user should land on the home page. If a user spends more than 10 seconds on the home page, a pop-up should trigger. The pop-up should ask multiple questions like your name, your email ID, and which courses are you looking for. The number of courses once you're looking for, if everybody gives the entire details, and then our objective will be put across shortly, that our executive will reach out to you shortly. Once this detailed flow is done, okay, Ankit, I will repeat back. I'm going back to the previous point. The first is the business objective, that most of the users, we should improve our business conversion from 5% to 7%. The second is the current pain points, that today, right now, we are only capturing 5% out of the 1,000 plus visitors which come to our website. Then the business will say that in a typical edtech business, this percentage is 10%. Then the business would say that since it's 10% and we are at 5%, this is the solution that we are suggesting. What is that solution? Is the chatbot feature that we want you to implement. Once the chatbot feature is the high level solution is given, then you give a detailed flow of the solution, that a user should land on the home page. After if a user spends more than 10 seconds, we should open a chatbot in which we will ask questions like what's your name, what's your email ID, which courses are you looking for. If the user fills all the details, then we say that our executive will reach out to you shortly. Yahan tak baat clear hai? Give me a objective, why it should be done, high level solution, and detailed flow. Give me a yes in the chat. Give me a yes in the chat, guys. I just need a yes in the chat and I will move forward. Awesome. बहुत बढ़िया. Once the detailed flow is done, the next step is we will write the metrics. Which metrics will move? So business will say that the total lead conversion should actually grow from 5 to 7%, and the lead quality, which is lead to sales conversion, should grow from 10 to 11%. So the fifth step is which metrics will improve. किसी भी solution को implement करने के लिए metric पता होने चाहिए ना, which metrics should improve. So we will say that the metrics of number of people who actually fill our lead form should grow from 5 to 7%, and the number of people who fill the lead form and actually convert into a paid user should grow from 10 to 11%. So this makes it very clear that business का objective ये है, right? And then the next part, which is the sixth part. So I will quickly share my screen and just a second. Give me a second and I will just quickly share my screen. So BRD, make it slightly bigger. Document. मेरी screen visible है? Is my screen visible? Is the Excel sheet visible? Give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no. Is my Excel sheet visible to you guys? Give me a yes or no in the chat. Awesome. So the BRD का पहला document होगा objective. Grow traffic to lead conversion from 7% to 10%. ये आ गया objective. देन आएगा करंट पेन पॉइंट्स, दैट करंटली our lead conversion is 6% and we want to grow it to 10%, which is the just a second, which is the standard for edtech businesses. ठीक है, करंट पेन पॉइंट्स लिख दिए, देन सोल्यूशन सजेस्टेड, implement a chatbot feature, then detailed flow, that a user spends 10 seconds, then a pop-up opens, we get the details, our team will reach out to you. ये भी हो गया। डिटेल्ड फ्लो के बाद हम लिखेंगे मेट्रिक्स। व्हाट आर द मेट्रिक्स? ट्रैफिक, इंक्रीज इन ट्रैफिक टू लीड कन्वर्जन, इंक्रीज इन ट्रैफिक लीड टू सेल्स कन्वर्जन। यहां तक बात क्लियर है? I'll just quickly move back to StreamYard and add to stream. यहां तक बात क्लियर हो गई? Detailed flow is just for the business to understand, for the product to understand. Just it can be the same, it cannot be the same, right? Metrics भी हो गया. Then the next thing that we mention is non-goals. Did you understand? No. These metrics are given by the product people only. Yes. Sorry, the business people only. Yes. These metrics are given by the business people. Then the next part would be the non-goals. Non-goals basically mean that if we implement the pop-up, existing lead forms should not drop in efficiency. Non-goals का basically मतलब समझ में आया? Non-goals का मतलब होता है that existing features should not start performing poorly. बात समझ में आई? Existing features should exist as it is. And the last thing is, that is something that is called as the operational checklist, that we should have proper analytics. Without analytics, how will you implement? Like, I'll just quickly share my screen. Give me a second. Yes. So non-goals basically mean that based on implementing this feature, right, it should not so happen that your existing features should perform poorly. That is a non-goal. And finally is the operational checklist, that there should be proper analytics to measure the metrics. There should be information given to the sales team to talk to these leads. So operational checklist basically क्या होता है? Operational checklist is what are the things which need to be done by the analytics team, the sales team. अब तुमने feature implement कर दिया. For example, you implemented the feature. If the sales team is not aware, that is something that has to be put across by the business team itself, that once the product team implements this feature, this should be communicated to the operations team, to the sales team, to the marketing team. This should be implemented. That is a part of the operational checklist. And there should be, and one more thing should be the part of the operational checklist. Operational checklist is that proper analytics should be input. If analytics is not there, you would not be able to measure the success of the solution. Yes, Pankaj, business team makes the PRD. It's like a requirement document. Yahan tak baat sabko clear hai? We started with, I'll quickly go back. We started with the business objective, the current pain points, high level solution, detailed solution, metrics, non-goals. Non-goals basically means things which should not drop because of your current feature. And last is operational checklist. Is this clear? The